meeting to order. David, will you do the roll call?
McKellar, Slipey, Toft,
Present.
Trottier, Williams,
Here.
Zierden, and Arnie.
Here. Let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so approval and amendment of the agenda. Does anybody have anything?
I don't,
No?
no addition.
Anyone want to move to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as stated.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's approved. Open forum. Anybody who would like to come up and speak, come and say your name and address, and then,
I'm Amanda Sigler, 31916 Blue Ridge Drive in Breezy Point. I sent an email today that I think all of you had received. I really dislike public speaking, but I feel like it's important for you guys to know how opposed I am for you putting a porta potty on hole 10. It is directly in my backyard. I believe hole 10 is probably one of the closest holes to a property line currently. I am concerned about the smell in the summer. I'm concerned about the noise that we all know porta potty doors slam shut. I'm concerned that people place garbage next to porta potties and it will create a garbage problem. And I just feel like it's going to create more of a problem than it is going to solve the current problem that you guys are trying to solve by putting a porta potty on the course. I just wanted to speak, you have my email, but I wanted to show up tonight to just show you that I really, really, really dislike this idea, and I feel like there's probably a better solution. And I appreciate your time and hearing me out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
we will be talking about this down on the agenda, so we'll get into that for sure and finish up with that and take what you said to heart for sure. All right. Then approval of the minutes.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
I can second that.
And do we have to do each one?
Yeah, we should probably.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so 6A,
Yes.
I'll second 6A.
So it was Williams and Zierden, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. Thank you.
All in favors? Aye.
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 Opposed? And the workshop minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve 6B, the workshop minutes.
I just want to interject real quick.
Yes.
I'm not going to stand in the way of this, but I don't remember where it was a foregone conclusion that the pavilion or gazebo was going to be moved to the disc golf parking lot. That's the only thing I took question, and Mr. Jansky cleared that up for me. So that's all I wanted to say.
And I'll second that. Approval? All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And opposed?
Nate?
To the minutes, okay. New business, here we go, the small pavilion relocation. And I think we have a sheet in here.
Yes. Now let's jump to that. I'm here. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. So a little background. This is coming on July 18th. The City Council accepted the bid on the City Hall and Remodel and Expansion project. Construction is scheduled to commence probably mid to late September. It's probably third week, I think, is what they're shooting for now. The first phase of that project is going to be construction of the new addition, which is going to go pretty much on the north side of this building, right on the other side of this wall. We'll do that first. And one of the first tasks that's going to have to be done is to have the small pavilion dismantled and relocated. It's been inspected by building official Scott Sadusky. He said it's in great condition. There's no reason why he thought it couldn't be moved and repurposed. And so that's one of the reasons why it was included as an expense in the project to have it relocated instead of just demolished and gotten rid of. So what we're kind of needing to do is we wanted to come to the Parks Committee first and say, where would you like it to be moved? You'll see in the packet, I did have a recommendation that it be moved to the new disc golf course parking lot. Maybe not in the parking lot, but in that area. The reason behind that was just that in the master plan, it's included in the master plan under proposed improvements to the Breezy Point Disc Golf Course and Recreation Area. Number 4 says, consider the installation of peripheral structures such as playground kiosks, shelters / pavilions, and other support structures to design and enhance playability. And so the idea there was the opportunity, if we already have one, it's going to be a much lower cost to just relocate the one we have than build a new one. But obviously what we're looking for is a recommendation from this committee to the council, where you think it should be moved. If you think it should be moved to another park or another place, that's just kind of what direction we're looking for tonight, is where do you think the pavilion would be best served, and where should it be moved to in late September, early October.
I'll make a motion.
Well, can we discuss? You want to make?
I'd like to discuss this if we could. I didn't mean to interrupt
Don't
you.
discuss to have a motion on the floor.
Well,
You haven't actually made the motion yet, though.
I would make a motion that we recommend the small pavilion be moved in the general vicinity of the parking lot, maybe not on the gravel, but somewhere nearby or whatever would be deemed appropriate by probably Joe and some other people involved. Maybe the disc golf people need to make some comment too. I don't know. I don't have the expertise to place it, but that neighborhood.
I'd like to discuss this before we could entertain any motions. I mean, I thought that's kind of what we were supposed to do, is discuss locations.
well, I think she's right. If we can make a motion,
Made a motion, so
Then we discuss.
So we should see if there's
Then
a,
if
if
it
there's a
passes, it
second
passes. If it
to that
doesn't,
motion, and then you discuss the motion.
But without discussing other alternatives, I've talked to several residents who have several other locations that they think this should
Well, that could be part of the
replaced.
discussion on the motion, Mr. Toft.
Is there a second?
so the motion is made. Is there a second?
I personally do not feel comfortable making a second right now
That's how I feel too.
without a discussion.
Okay.
So
So
without any second, then the motion dies for lack of second.
now we'll discuss.
Okay. I talked to several residents, and some of the thoughts with the residents that I spoke to thought that this should be located in a place where there's a lot more activity with the general residents of Breezy Point. One of the locations that was discussed was the new community garden right in front here. Another discussion of a place was to the other side of the basketball court, on the other side of the walking trail. Another point of discussion was to be put right next to the building over here. I'm assuming, I'm not sure what you call it, Mr. Zierden, but the equipment building. Most of the folks that recommended these things thought that more folks come to this particular park than any other park in Breezy Point, and that's been shown. The National Parks and Rec Association did a survey a couple of years ago that 96% of residents of a city use their traditional park at least one time during the course of a year. Traditional park would mean, playground equipment, a baseball field, soccer field. So that just seems to make a lot of sense. I did have one person suggest the swimming beach also. I went out with a tape measure and measured it. It's like 16 by 27, and it would barely fit on that north side where it would have to be, one bench would have to be moved. And there's plenty of room in the other 3 locations that I indicated.
I appreciate, that was my question going into this, is that the only place we have to consider?
Nope.
Could there be other options? 2, if we're not able to make a decision at this moment, I want to know, can this pavilion, if construction does go underway, can it be housed someplace while we make that decision? because I don't know if after today we'll have that set. I don't know. So those are more my discussion questions I'd like to have answered. I don't know, Joe, is that something that could be stored, or maybe it's not, and we need to make a bit quicker decision?
I have done no research on moving it, so
Yeah, so I would have to, I don't know, I think Joe and I, and then probably we're talking high-tech construction, who would be the ones to actually do it, what their thoughts on it are. I'd have to also see if that's within their proposal to have it, to take it down and then re-put it up later. I don't know, just because it's kind of a double, what's the word, they have to go, yeah, they have to go out twice to do it.
Right.
I don't know, I'd have to talk to high-tech to see that, and then, I know we'd have to work with Joe to figure out, there's probably somewhere it could go, but where that would go.
yeah, we went, I don't have time to do really anything the rest of the year. I mean, if it's on a parking lot or a flat surface, we can work that in, but like if you, for example, moved it further into the disc golf course where there's topography to deal with, I don't have time to do that.
Okay, well, first of all, the pavilion here, what I was told is it wasn't very well used. It was hardly used because we have a big giant pavilion right over here.
Correct.
That's number one. Number two, in the garden, great idea, but we already put we're having 2 picnic tables and benches in there. We don't have anywhere for a giant structure with we don't need it. We're already really well off with those 2 donated picnic tables and benches, so we're happy with that, and there's no need for it there. We did plan to put one in at the disc golf course, and we wanted it right off the parking lot, not into the woods or anything for sure. It is, I think it's probably even more used and more people coming through, as we might be hearing in our discussion here. And we hope, when I went sliding there, it'd be nice to have a place to change into your boots or your skis or whatever you're doing, your snowshoes in there, and to sit after you're done using the park or hiking through there. We hike through there, so to me, it makes perfect sense that it would go in there, and we did plan it for that down the road. So if we can get it with no expense and it's already budgeted into the new city hall, that makes the most sense to me, unless I hear something else.
I think my concern is, it feels like it's doing it really quickly without a site plan in place for what we want that area, what we envision that area to look like. I know there's a list, but that's very different than having a plan of how that space is going to be best utilized. And I would like to see that in place before we start moving buildings into there, because it's hard to move them once they're there, so.
Yeah, is there a way that, I guess that, I feel like I'm still in the very initial options stage. I'm not opposed to moving it, but I do agree with Deanne.
Well, I think it said here that they need to know by mid to late September, and I think our next meeting is before then. So if we could have a quick look, over there, and I think we're a ways off of getting a playground in there, but we'd want to think that's kind of the other thing that would be adjacent to it, which would be nice to figure out where those 2 things are going. And maybe we should go over there and look before next meeting. Would we have enough time to make a decision if we talked and did this at the next meeting?
I think what we need is, ultimately, this is going to be decided by the city council. The
Yeah.
council's going to ultimately approve it. So I guess what we'd have to need is probably some recommendation to the council that you are looking at this site and to get authorization that's to allow you to place it on the site, should you so find a spot and are agreed upon it. I think the question would also be, do you have what's a plan B if
Right.
there is no agreement on this site? Do you want us to, again, we can talk to High Tech and figure out, what if we just took it down and stored it? What is that? Is there a place to, can we find a spot to store it. I don't think, we don't have any indoor space to store that thing, especially because the roof's gonna pretty much be in one piece.
Sits outside, so it can
Doesn't
sit
need to,
outside.
yeah.
Yeah, we could probably figure out a way to tarp it or do whatever.
Yeah.
Make sure no vandalism. We just have
Not all winter.
to find a good spot to store it. So that could be, another option. We'll talk to High Tech. If for some reason they say yes, but it's gonna cost more, obviously we'll need council
Council
to be
will have
okay
to.
with that. So I guess, you could have this, you have the put store. Is there an option C? Do you want to have an option C?
Well, I think if we're going to go look at the disc golf next week or next month, that we could also look at the other, that Mr. Toft suggested, the other locations also to see where maybe it makes the most sense.
Well, okay, we ruled out the garden, the beach, I saw head shaking.
The beach is not big
Not
enough for a
happening. What was the other
pavilion.
option that you were
I think
saying?
you said on the other side of the basketball
The
court.
side of the
The other side
basketball
of the
court,
basketball court.
there's an area behind the walking trailer that,
Okay.
you can see all the playground equipment is by the basketball court. Yeah, right down there.
Storage building, is that by the storage building?
Well, you know the
exactly?
basketball court down there, right over here outside, there's a walking trail, it's the other side of the walking trail. And then another person did suggest by the equipment building over there, kind of like off of right field of the baseball field.
Is there public parking over near those two spots?
There's
there's
the
parking right
overflow
here.
parking back there. If you just give me a moment, I can pull it up. I'm pulling it up here on GIS so you can get a kind of a site, I think, what Mr. Toft is.
One concern that I think is, I was on the committee when we put that pavilion up, and my concern at the time was the proximity to County Road 11 with small children. I wouldn't want a family gathering in that pavilion. It's too close to the highway. And I think next to this building would be the same issue. It's not really solving that issue. I think that's part of the reason the other one is used more, because it's tucked back closer to the playground. So the the basketball hoop area may be a safer
How about-
location.
Yeah, or even in this,
Toft, you're talking about kind of in this area right here?
or even a little bit further south.
Like right off the mid-court on that side of the walking trail. There's plenty of room. Yeah, it was right.
Back by the storage.
North Pinewood Drive?
Right here, this vicinity.
This vicinity? Okay. Joe, would you have any concerns with that location?
I wouldn't recommend putting directly on top of the sewer line that runs through that clearing, just because if we had to
Right.
replace the line, we gotta demo it. But
How about a little
that's
bit
the
further
same
south?
concern with the community garden, it's gonna be
Yeah.
on top of the sewer line as well, but that's easier to
Not
work.
gonna have a concrete pad. What about just
We could,
to the right of the ball field?
That's kind of right now it's a chip seal rock. I wouldn't go out there. That's weeds. I mean, it was gonna be a ball field at one point. It's,
Not big enough.
well, it's flat, it's weedy. Basically, it's boat overflow parking right now. I would agree by the basketball court that the grass there is not terrible. That's a good location. I mean,
But did you say that's where the sewer line runs?
it does, but there's probably room to shift it one side or the other of it. And honestly, I mean, if you put it over the sewer line, and no, we may have to tear it down, which very unlikely, but
Is moving it
Doesn't seem
include a
smart.
new concrete pad underneath it?
that's my understanding. And that was the other thing I was gonna ask.
That it is?
What, yes.
That it is included, okay. That's helpful.
If you moved it there to Joe's concerns, do you feel like you need a full pad? Obviously it's gonna have to have footings, they're gonna put it on new posts. And, it's gonna be concrete poured footings for the posts. I don't know, Joe, when it
Wanna
comes to
know if
mowing
it's
and stuff,
level
is that
enough?
ideal, but does it have to have a concrete pad on it, underneath it?
It's hard to mow and stuff under there. You're gonna have to weed whip,
Pavilions without concrete
Right.
floors. because,
buggy
I mean,
under there, and
You're putting chairs and tables and
The
things
stability.
that you don't want to sink into the dirt. That's why you have concrete.
well, also our future plans for, one idea was maybe an ice rink over there. Would that be in that same area where you said there's Like at the ball field?
I don't know. I'm not that familiar with the future plan. Like an ice rink, in my opinion, you know, that's a winter thing. It's snow. I think a lot of ice rinks at other communities I've worked at are in like parking lots, in fields sometimes, things like that. I think you probably that overflow parking area.
Yeah.
It would make more sense, but you know, that's,
Just saying, I mean, we have to think ahead now because we have an opportunity here and we didn't expect this, so we're,
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't, there's limited number of, like, you won't want to put anything that's high dollar over the sewer line.
In this pavilion, it's already, how old, Joe?
It's not that old.
Yeah.
It's constructed while I was here, 11 years probably.
I was going to say.
So it's not
10,
necessarily, it's in a
11,
good
something
shape.
like that.
Again, you know, the building officials said there's no reason why it couldn't be moved and why it shouldn't be moved. But it's also probably not, again, something that's going to be there for 40 years.
Can those 8x9 slabs be moved? I've noticed you've moved some tee boxes on the disc
Sometimes.
golf course.
Yep,
They're 8x9.
Yeah, I mean, you do it with a risk of breaking it, so. And we haven't broken them so far. I thought we would, but it hasn't. And the bigger slabs, I don't know what High Tech's thinking, but you can move just about anything if you want to. I mean, they move houses. I don't know if it's economical to get the equipment to move a slab. I mean, concrete isn't all that expensive in the grand scheme of things. I believe that structure was like right around maybe 10 grand, I think, is what I remember hearing. But of course, that was 11 years ago.
so what I'm hearing was we want us to look at it, or do we want Joe to look at it and, like, at the disc golf area and then look over here by the basketball court? Sounds like those are the two options we're down to, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so, but it seems like when you have a pavilion and people are going to picnic or have some sort of celebration, they want to be able to get their car somewhat close.
Right, that's
so
why I
they're not
asked
lugging
about the
stuff
parking.
like way from up front back that way. I don't see it particularly convenient.
I've seen a lot of people park in that area that Mr.
Back
Sheridan
there on
mentioned.
Meadow.
Yeah.
I've parked there when I've taken my grandkids to pitch some baseballs.
Basketball players a lot of times park almost right where it says North Pinewood Drive in the grass. I mean, it's not a great grassy area, but kind of in that corner. I mean, it's not tons of cars, one or two, but it's frequent.
So we wouldn't have to have people could park back there for easier access. you're
Yeah,
saying.
it's just more informal right now. I mean, people that know they can park there do, but it's not.
You see a lot of use of it during, especially, you know, boat ramp usage.
Yep.
You get trailers and stuff.
That's what it's advertised for, is boat.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's,
So let's revise the motion to say we would like to look at two options.
But we want it, we
By
don't want
next
it
month.
demolished. We're saying we want it.
We wanna save
attempt
it.
to be used.
Yeah, we want to save it, and we would like to look at where the best option would be at the disc golf course and by the basketball court. And I guess the third option is if they could store it for the winter and disassemble it, right?
No, because if you're going to just store it and not have a place to put it, what's the point? Just trash it.
Well, if we can't decide on
Oh,
one of the other two, then we have to
yeah.
see if three is an option even.
Yeah, we'd have to talk to High Tech and,
If we were going to destroy it, I would make a suggestion that we consider bringing it to the elementary school.
Donating it before we would,
And putting it in the nature center, which would get a ton of use.
Don't you need do you have a site plan for it?
Oh, yeah, it's.
that is, I would say
Yeah.
that's, Community Trotter, that is another option, is to donate it.
Yeah, I've never seen that. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I do too.
I do. Where's that? That's right behind the school?
Right behind the school, yeah.
But I'll go there and take a look at it sometime.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely, drive
drive right behind
There's a
and
road
we've
back
got
there that,
ponds and gardens, and it would be another outdoor space.
Learning
that-
space.
Learning space.
I just
Outdoor.
don't think we should be so quick to
Yes.
give it
I-
away when
I
it's.
know.
No, I
And
said,
we
but
already
if that was,
planned to
if
have
we
it-
were talking about
I mean, like we
just
said, it's
demolishing it,
not
then
that big of a footprint.
Yep.
And we can figure out where it would fit adjacent to the parking lot, I think, and allow for all our other plans to go through. I don't think that's going to be that hard to do, but we do want to look at all options because this was kind of sprung on us. So if we could make a motion to that order,
Yeah, to further investigate, location of the disc golf course, adjacent to the disc golf course parking lot, adjacent to the basketball court. Is it
storage,
storage? Can you store it? Do we have a place to store it, and how does that work? We'll talk about that. And then if, you know, last case scenario be
donating
donate
it.
it, and I can reach out to the school district to make sure that'd be something they would be willing to.
I can vouch
Okay.
for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
all right, so
I mean, I can. Yeah. I manage that area, so.
can we get a second for that motion?
Who's, Madam Chair, are you making that motion?
Yes.
Okay.
I will second it.
Okay.
And then discussion?
Yeah, I'd
Deanne,
like to have a
second.
discussion.
Discussion.
Second it.
It's been seconded.
What is the meaning of investigate? What are we taking on as far as investigation? Are we going to different sites? Are we going to get people to make site plans? What does investigate
So from, I think,
mean?
further, so for me on the investigate would be on each location, figure out, is there, like, what would the specific location be?
This.
You know, actually going out to disc
Okay,
golf.
Are you figuring that out, or Joe figuring that out, or high tech, or are we going out on site as a group? That's what I want to know, concretely, what is going to happen in this investigation?
Can I suggest that we would start our meeting at the disc golf parking lot next month, and then maybe make a run by the elementary school, and then make a run back here, and then come into the building and start our meeting inside at
Yeah, we
that
absolutely
point?
can do that.
Okay,
We can.
that's what I
and
would
we'll-
suggest as.
Process of noticing that will just be, how we'll do it is we'll have to be very clear, we're gonna be over here at 5 o'clock. We're gonna be over there at 5, 30, or whatever you want, and then we're gonna be over here at 6, and
I
then back
don't-
inside at 6:15, or whatever that is. How long do you think you would need at each site? You gotta add probably about 10 minutes of travel time in between.
I mean, I don't think we need to go to the school. That's our last option. I want to use this if we can,
I will
and
say,
that's up to them
I
to
would say
figure
this
it
committee
out.
member tried to years, if we donate it to the school, my
up to
intention
them.
was we're gonna deliver it to them and they can do with it as
To
they
look at
please.
it. She's vouching for it. We don't need to look at that. That's going to be theirs if we end up with that option.
Yeah, I agree with you, Gail.
So 5 o'clock,
Don't see why
disc
we
golf
would
course.
donate something and then we have it in our plan to build the
I know.
same thing where we just have the chance
but
to.
we'll
put it.
see. You never know. So we have all our plans in order here.
So
So start at 5
how
o'clock.
does- And then we'll say, how's 5:30 over
Yep,
the city hall, we'll call City Hall Park?
yep.
Because that gives about, we'll just say, 20, 25 minutes of discussion and then 5, 10 minutes of
transfer
transfer
over, yep.
time.
And then come into the building
And
after
then
that.
come into the building, 5:30 at
Sounds good.
City Hall Park, and then 6 o'clock is back in chambers. That's easy enough. Okay, thank you for that.
Do we need to vote on the
All right,
motion?
so all in
Yes.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay,
Okay, thank you very much.
all right. Disc golf course bathroom placement, here we go. Joe, do you want to do this? Okay,
Tried to explain the options I was directed to investigate by the council. This is what I came up with. Gives you the distances essentially from the edge of the road, very approximate costs. One issue with the costs would be the longer distances would probably have more property pin location costs. Those property pins in those little corridors were not located during initial construction because the envelope wasn't, we didn't have to, so it saved us a little bit of money. And as far as Timing, we have no time to do this year, so it's kind of more, I would say almost more of a budget discussion for next year. And if I could get a consensus, you know, if you in fact do want to do it, which one should I investigate more so I could budget better next year?
Where are they this year?
Right now, they're at the two main parking lots.
And these are different locations from that then?
Yes, these are on the new course, the north, basically the most northern edge. So from where the current parking lot is, these are approximately going to be about as far away from the bathrooms as you can. So, you know, if you got to...
Joe, are these in order of the options? So like, is this option A?
let's see here.
Well, and I think part of this is
Yeah.
because we initially wanted it as far, I mean, thinking, so people aren't urinating, I mean, the complaints we're trying to, but I'm almost wondering if this is,
So this does look like it's
Overkill.
option A, the
Is-
30 feet from green scene.
Yeah, that is whole
what we
can.
intended is.
Oh, yeah, option one. Yep, there we go. Option one.
Yep,
And then you have, this is the whole 10, option two, where we put it further down.
yep. Onto basically the edge of the course. That was the direction I was given to do two basic options.
And then on the other side of the course, so the
On Blue Ridge,
immediately off, and then Blue Ridge in the course.
yeah.
And Joe, you obviously confirmed that they can, if it goes that far in, they can, the provider is able to pump it out from that distance?
With construction of a path, which the topography would allow one, but that's one thing looking at it that I didn't consider, especially like this option right here, is everything on that 20-foot path. Most likely those trees, we'd have to pay someone, an arborist, because it's 20 feet. We don't want to be dropping them onto private property.
Okay, might sound crazy, but did it work where they are this year?
That was my question.
I
is have
mean,
we
in the parking
continued-
lots, can we just?
Continued to have complaints, or are they working where they are?
You know, I think from my recollection, the reason this was included in the initial list was the concerns about
Right.
Yeah,
public urination and those on the
we
north
didn't even
side.
have them
and
out yet when that happened, so.
I have not, I will say, I have not seen any incident reports about, you know, I think we had 2 incidents early on in the year.
Before the
That might have been
bathrooms were.
before they were even out, the ones at the parking lots were out, I'm not sure.
I
It was
think they hadn't
before.
been
It was
delivered yet.
before.
Not received, and I think both of those were before or
Yeah.
by, you know, beginning of June, and we've not received any since. That's all I can't say it's not happening.
Right.
Obviously, the neighbors would know better. I'm just saying I've not seen any reports of it, so.
Well, with all the foliage we've had this year, I would guarantee you it's happening, we just can't see it. I mean, most golf courses, you have 9, it comes back to a clubhouse where there is access to a bathroom. It just is not designed to have a continuous loop like this, hence the problem. First of all, awesome chart. I wish the Muni gal had made a chart like this for the council concerning the bond issue, Mr. Zierden, because then we could have had a comparison, so it's a really good chart. For me, option 2 on hole 13 is the only option, in my opinion. Because if you have it close to the road, other people are going to use it, it's going to get tipped over. And let's face it, no one's going to walk 700 feet to use the bathroom when they can just go in the woods and figure no one's going to see them anyway. And if it's something you just think us residents should live with, that's fine.
No. So, could you tell us, like, has anyone mentioned in the play whether we're lacking?
So, do I get to introduce myself, Dave?
Go ahead,
Address and all that?
Yeah.
please do.
Shane Humphrey, 4556 Main Street, Pequot Lakes. The bathroom thing, you guys hit it on the head earlier, that it was, you know, we had complaints early on before the course was even open, before the bathrooms were even out there about this. And since then, I personally haven't heard anything from any party in regards to a complaint about that. Is it needed, is the big question.
Well, we need 2. The question is, do we need 3?
Right.
And then if where are the two we have now in the parking lots, are those fine, or do we need one?
So the reality
Somewhere else,
is
so
to
we don't
play
have a
18
gap.
holes at the new course, it's about 2 to 2.5 hours roughly. So me personally, I'm fine without it. Majority of us that have talked about it, it's a nice to have, but is it needed? No. It's not needed. As far as the option that would work, Mr. Toff, you said hole 13, option 2. I think that's the only one. I don't like hole 10 either. So a lot of us don't like that. It's too close to the families right there. The sound of outhouses, we run the big disc golf tournaments down south in Clearwater. We had 3,000 people there, and trust me, those outhouses were super loud until we put rubber sealant on the inside that'll just tack, that goes on the bottom of your door, and that stopped it completely. So you don't hear anything, but there's a smell associated with it. There's a cost, and there's a maintenance.
Yep,
So is it needed? No.
okay. What about if we went next year with them where they are now and see how it goes again next year?
Is there,
Seems to be going fine this year, so I don't want to make more of a problem out of no problem. I don't want to cause more stress for people.
Well, I want to honor the voices that we're hearing,
Yeah.
which is that they would prefer not to have it in their backyard.
Right,
And I will say, I just want to, although to say that the two that I know verifiable urination complaints that the PD did receive, they responded to both and interacted with both. So they have been able to be responsive to both scenarios.
I'm wondering too, I mean, we did have an unusual winter. Were there people out there earlier before, when do they normally
Snow
get
went
out
away so
there?
fast, yeah.
so it
We
was
we may
definitely,
need to put them out earlier if that would happen again.
If it's doable, I know I think has something to do with the freeze point too.
Or close it down in the winter, if that's the case, and you don't have that problem.
well, we are going to have hikers, snowshoers, and sliders out there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, but they're not going to be walking back around where all of us live.
Well, we don't,
That'll be more
Any
by the
snowshoers. I
parking
saw
lot,
one
yeah.
snowshoer this
More by
year.
the parking lot, yeah.
Ma'am,
We'll be snowshoeing in there, but.
if I may, Madam
Yep.
Chair, Joe, we take, those aren't there year round, right? You take them out normally, when do they normally get removed?
Usually around freezing weather conditions.
Like October-ish.
Similar when we open up the outside bathrooms, April, May-ish to, maybe sometime in October. I've seen it almost go to November, but usually it's early October, late September maybe once we get freezing weather at night, that's when we shut this bathroom down because the water lines are exposed, so.
Don't you have a tournament October 19th? I thought I saw.
No, you're incorrect.
Was that changed? I thought there was one on the 19th scheduled.
Nope, never has been.
That was helpful, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So I would like to or propose a motion of, can we take an extra one, adding another one, an additional one, can we take that off the table right now? Continue using what we have
And
and see
continue.
how can continue to monitor it.
And revisit it.
And revisit
As
as needed. Because if there's complaints again, I want to hear. But,
I'll second that.
Any more discussion?
So as a clarification, that's pretty much continue to monitor the situation and revisit if necessary.
Staying with what we're doing now, with two parking lots.
not adding
Just the
any
two.
more out on
Keep
the
with the
course.
two.
Third option would be the one, the fourth here,
Yep.
hole 13, option 2, if we were to need it, but we're going to hold
Okay.
Yeah.
and keep monitoring.
And that'll be a recommendation that will go send to the city council. in
Council.
September. Yep. And that was Commitment Trotter, you second that, correct?
I did the second.
Yep. Yep.
Seared
and
in,
Jim-
yeah.
Okay, I got that. Just want to make sure I get that right. Okay.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right. Thank you for all that work. Sorry. But that was the directive he was given, to make sure everything was looked at and and that was a lot of work.
Bill, can I ask Bill a question? Bill? Yes. You voted opposed, you wanted us to pick one of those sites, is that what you wanted?
Yes, I did. And I understand the logic, but I'm going to stick to my guns about it. I think something needs to be done. I mean, I play golf, and guys go in the woods. I mean, I understand that. It's just there's no homes typically where this occurs, where in this past year that, we all live around there. So that would take that issue off the table for me. But I understand the logic, so that's where I'm at.
I just wanted to understand that you rather would have had another porta potty than not.
I would, yes.
Okay.
All right. Workshop items for discussion. So when we had our workshop, our items were on this back page, the last page in here. And the first one on there is the placement of the kiosk, pavilion, signage, printable maps, and all that. So Shane's going to come up and tell us a little bit about signage he is proposing.
So I actually, if we could have Deb put this on the screen here. I have a sign that I designed that I'm going to build and donate to the course. I have a sign making company, I've been doing this for many years here. So this is just a generic rendering of what will be carved and built. So this is all out of cedar. Be 30 by 30, surrounded by 2 large cedar posts on either side. Everything that you see that is darker would be engraved and carved out of the wood. All the letters would be all 3D and present. Down here we would have a background silhouette and an oval here. Those letters would be raised as well. And then we do a paint scheme of a black border around it, white lettering on the top, white lettering here on the bottom, donations are appreciated. And then the monarch trails with the arrow and the agate pass would have separate color schemes matching a monarch. And then the agate, I'm gonna try some different paint schemes to actually do a pour so it creates an agate effect to it. So this is something I'm completely building, donating. The value of this is about $1,500, if not more. I will be putting at the very bottom, donated by me, my company, in very small lettering. If you're okay with that, part of that donation. And as far as a larger entrance sign, that's something I would love to do for you guys as well. It's not something I would be willing to donate, being that the amount of cost behind that is significant. But if it's something that you guys would want to work with me on, have a discussion about that, I would give you, basically, you pay for materials, and I would build it. So, as you all know, I've been involved with this project for a long time, close to home, close to my heart. So I'd love to be a part of this and love to build this and donate it. So.
Okay, on that note, so maybe when we go over there next month, we look at that bush area in the middle of the parking lot, or in and out. That's where we're talking about the recreation area sign, a bigger all-over general sign. This would be on the golf course in between the 2 courses.
Right, so right at the trailhead that Jonah's team put in recently with all the mulch and everything, be right there at that trailhead, showing agate pass this way, monarch trails this way. So year-round, whether we're snowshoeing, sledding, whatever, we'll have a little bit of a directory to work off of.
So that kind of is another item on here, talking about our overall signage through the city parks and stuff, but getting that recreation area kind of with a bigger sign at the entrance is probably something that should be on our, higher up on our list, so that would be good to tie that in.
I would like to see maybe us go further with this once we decide also what we're doing with the pavilion. I do like the idea of a site plan.
Yeah.
So wherever that pavilion lands, then
If you don't mind me speaking to the pavilion real quick, just my opinion. You guys talked about whether we're going to do the playground or not, or what that look is going to be, what that vision is truly going to be. Once you guys have that truly understanding, it's going to be, is that needed? The pavilion right now, if you were to put that out there right now, my personal opinion, the only use it's going to get is going to be by the families that come, from hours away, and they set up a little picnic, do that, sit at the bench, have a little break in between the round. That would be utilized. And then it's going to be the tournaments. But beyond that, you mentioned during the winter, if we're going to get our snowshoes on and everything else like that, nice little place to do that. But that's about really, truly my only thoughts behind the use behind it.
I think we have one more bench too, don't we, Joe? That got donated that we could put out.
Maybe, I'll have to look and see.
Yeah, I think we had an extra 1 or 2 benches, long benches that we could put maybe by this sign in between the 2 golf courses too. So again, a site map, that would be great.
I really like
kind
the
of zooming
sign.
in.
I like this, I like it. I think it's simple, it's a good directional sign.
And we like that part.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah,
I
if
really
you're
wanna s-
donating it, your name needs to be on it, so.
Yeah, well, just donations are appreciated. I want to speak to that at some point today, if possible, about the fundraising again and sponsorships that we've been trying to get pushed through for 6 years, and we've had 0 traction on that. So
Okay, wait.
when that's time appropriate, I can sit
That's
down.
right at the second thing on our list, but shall we talk any more about the signs? Are we
He's got
Good to
more
go?
show.
Are we
He could
good?
show like the whole sponsors and that, right?
yeah.
If you want me to speak to that, I'd be
So
happy to.
just, we're done talking about this one then? And
Yeah,
we're
it's
good with it?
beautiful.
Do we need to vote on it?
If he's gonna donate it, I guess there's no really,
Yeah,
the council will.
Nobody has any
The council will have to
Right.
accept the donation.
right.
So whether you, well, I guess it'll be up to you, Mr. Humphrey, whether that's something you want prior you constructing it or post you constructing it, we can work that out.
Well, it's probably prior, huh?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah, probably be a good
Make
idea.
If the
sure they
committee
accept
wants
it,
to-
yeah, before you
If the
put it
committee
together.
wanted to recommend that the council accept the donation, I don't think that would ever hurt.
I will make a motion that we recommend that the council accept the donation of the sign,
I'll second.
the directional sign.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
All right, let's move on to the next thing. That's the QR codes and the donations.
So again, this is the exact same thing that I presented for 6 years in a row. So the thing that we need, there's really 3 ways to present type of funding for the disc golf course. It's the memberships, which we've already done for the league, and this year we obviously already donated a basket. That was a very expensive basket, and we already have plans to raise funds to hopefully help with any type of tee pads that we're looking to replace on the old course for next year, so that's our next goal. But the secondary is going to be whole sponsorships. Whole sponsorships is done all across the state. Every course has this. So again, some I've already presented many times before. Businesses or individuals may sponsor packages to be determined on an X-year term. We recommend 5 years. The average is probably about 90% of the courses out there do a 5-year term, or they wait until they swap out the baskets, which is generally about every 10 years. 6 months prior to the end of the term, we will ask all who have sponsored to re-sponsor for another X amount of time, 5 years, whatever we decide there. There will be 3 packages to choose from, the first being a T-pad sponsorship. This is just a generic example rendering that I put together. It could be a 6x6 post, it could be a metal post, it could be really whatever you want. And then there's a plate at the top, just as you would have on other courses. I build a lot of the signs for Whitefish, golf course, things like that, where you have the actual hole layout, your par, your distances, things like that. If we want to incorporate the actual business sponsor on that top plate, that could be something that could be done too. Ideally, the easiest way to do so is just to have a 6x6 post, have that engraved or vinyl, however you want to do that medium, depending on how much you want to pay for these. That could be attached into the side of that post with the business name or the individual name that's paying for that sponsorship. So hypothetically, $500 for 5 years for a T-pad
Is that per year or $500 total?
total.
Okay.
And then the second would be, depending on the bench type that you have, you could have like a bench, like the metal ones right now, so you can get a vinyl sticker put on a piece of PVC, a couple zip ties around the back end, and that would be a very good way to create a sponsor on a bench. Or if you have it wood, you have it engraved, things like that. And then the really easy one, which is something we should just be all over, is just a basket sponsorship. A sticker, vinyl, is $3-4 total. And $250 for a 5-year sponsorship, just to put at the very top of the band, their name or the business, and just 2 stickers, 1 on each side, that's it. And then you look at just a hypothetical, if you have whatever the business name, the individual, what they're sponsoring, the amount, length of their contract. Simple, it's easy. Wish we would have had it a long time ago. We'd have a lot more money here in the donation bucket. And the third and last option, which is by far the easiest and most simple, is just a generic QR code attached to the funding bucket bank account where, you know, the sign that I donate, if you want to put a little QR code right at the bottom of it, or at the exit, at the entrances, they scan that real quick, pulls up their PayPal, Venmo, whatever it is, 20 bucks, 10 bucks, 50 bucks, whatever they want to donate for the day, they can do that. It's simple, it's easy. The only thing that we've needed this entire time is Breezy Point to be the fiscal agent and to create a bank account. That's it.
To be able to receive the money.
That's it.
David,
So,
what do you?
So on that, I guess one
Is that
clarification
system
I'd be
you're
getting is,
looking at?
who's this money going to? Is this going to the city? Okay,
The
so,
city directly.
yeah, and this is, on the QR code thing, this is something we've discussed internally, you know, as we are in the process of looking at getting new financial software. This is, unfortunately, right now, it's not a capability we have. Our finance software is just too old and basic. But with a new finance software, we don't see why it wouldn't be an issue we could do. And so our goal is for that be a 2025 project, is the new financial software. And then once that's up and running, we absolutely could go look at how can we implement something like QR codes for donations and things. Otherwise, right now, it's pretty much, it's going to have to be cash or check.
okay. If possible, if there's a way between now and then to approve a process for just the sponsorships of the TPAD, and then then I can do all the back end work, maybe get a queue
Yeah.
of people that are willing to donate. And then once the funding bucket becomes approved, we just turn it on.
And again, I just want to clarify, like for the sponsorships, you know, if we're doing like talking holes or, you know, the T-pads or however, you know, the 30 different options you discussed, that's something we always just kind of like, someone can write us a check or cash for a business would just do that. It's just the QR code piece that doesn't work right now. But yeah, the other ones we could make work.
Okay.
I was just curious, I know in November of '21, you said that you were going to be able to come up with $1,000 a year for a whole sponsorship. Is that unrealistic at this point? You said $1,000 a year per hole. Because you said $36,000 a year you'd be able to forward to
So if you do the
Breezy
math on
Point.
what I just presented, it's $500 for a TPAD.
For 5 years, you said, that's over 5 years, so that's
$250 for a
$100.
bench and $250 for a basket. So $1,000 per hole.
Okay, wait a minute. So you
With
said,
all the different items.
so that's $100 a hole from the 500. Okay, we're up to 100. How do we get it to 1,000?
I think you're misconstruing what I said, sir. And actually, it was a 5-year contract. That's all I've ever presented in the 6 times I've presented this.
I can probably look at the minutes, but whatever. I'm not going to hear something totally honest out of you anyway.
Well, what, if everything was taken up?
Every time, I'm going to say this, every time I come here, I get just ridiculed by this individual.
No, you have to lie about me on the January meeting, and everything out of your mouth was a lie.
That's enough.
Wow.
Shane,
That's
if it was all sponsored, Shane, if it was all sponsored, how much would the total come to? Like if everything was taken up at the amount that you said, how much would that totally come to?
Wouldn't it be $1,000 per?
I mean, just total for the whole, both courses or the new course? Are you talking about both? Both courses?
You guys see this?
Both courses or the one course, the new course only?
Both courses, every
Okay.
single hole.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Gail, may I ask a question? I don't know if it's to
Sure.
Shane or David. What do we have to do to get this moving forward? To get this set up and get, does he next go, do we recommend to council the sign that he's proposing? What do we do?
We did that.
So you've already done the recommendation on the sign, the directional sign.
Yeah.
So the next would be, you know, you don't really have to go to council unless you're ready. If you're accepting Mr. Humphrey's proposal as it is, then I'd say then make a motion to send his proposal to council so we can get that going. If you want to work on it more, then obviously you don't send it to council yet. So I'd say you don't send it to council until this is what we want to do.
We could be ready to go except for the QR code, but we can accept the money in different ways, like check or cash.
Check or
At this
cash right
point.
now would be the way we would accept money. And if we wanted, if you want to work with Mr. Humphrey on the plan that he's proposed, then it would be, I'd say send it to council and say, this is the plan we want to do.
Okay,
Well,
another question then. Does each donation by the QR code or, being a whole sponsor, does each one individually have to be proposed to council and approved by them Or is it like a whole bucket
in
of
this
them?
packet.
Like the how you would do the
donation
sponsorships?
process.
Donations have to all be approved by, accepted by
Yeah, so what
council.
you, so I guess
each
we're kind of,
one-
we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves here. So I think what I'm saying first right now is, this is how you want, how you want to do sponsorships. And then, that's a good question. With sponsorships, is it first come, first serve, or do you want to vet sponsorships? I guess that's maybe, again, kind of that planning piece is, okay, we know you want to do this process, but who is approving sponsorships? Do you, again, is it, someone comes in, they just get it, they just have to sign up? Do you want to review them before you, accept a sponsor?
Can you think of a scenario of a situation where we wouldn't want to accept someone's sponsorship?
Maybe if it was like an adult business. I think you might want to.
The family-oriented.
Yeah, you could put some.
Parks.
You might want to put some, rules around sponsorships.
Yeah, could we say anything that
Also,
isn't allowed
are you
on
accepting
the?
sponsorships from outside of the city? So again, you kind of would want some rules around the sponsorships of who's.
Can we add that to next time?
Yeah, we can
I
add it
would
for
like
next to look to talk about kind of the rules and.
I'd like to see
guidance.
us move forward, but I think we do need to have a filter or something that we've created.
I like the levels of sponsorship that you proposed a lot. I think that gives people some really doable options, and I think people, I look at the ball fields around here, my kids have all played ball, and every single ball field has signs hung out that businesses have sponsored, and it brings in some money that helps support it. So we're looking at the same thing, it's just a different venue.
So, David, what motion do we need to get this?
I would say probably at
going?
this point, maybe a motion to move forward with the type of plan as presented, and then to come back at the next meeting to discuss kind of rules
How?
and the implementation. I would say let's discuss implementation.
Okay. So then it would be on the council agenda then?
I wouldn't put it on the council agenda until it's all,
Like a
here's,
till we have
everything
the
is,
how.
it's a complete package.
Okay.
Well, I think the only thing we'd want to say is we want approval of the list of sponsors.
Right.
And I don't think he's going to go out and get anything that's
Well, that's
not.
what I'm saying. I think that's what we would discuss at the next
just
meeting is,
That's all it would need.
Okay, so we need, if we want to move ahead, we make a motion.
if you want to move ahead with the plan as Mr. Humphrey presented, I'd say
And-
a motion to move ahead with that and to come at the next meeting to discuss implementation.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Great.
Thank you very much. Okay, so back to workshop items for discussion on our list here. The QR codes, the signage.
You, Amanda.
Thank you.
Yep.
Master plan, we've cut through a couple of these, so I think maybe we should put the balance of these on next month's
I
agenda.
thought would be, and I would say, there's a couple of these, as I think you're all aware of with Mr. Assistant City Administrator Ike's resignation. Some of these are gonna have to be put on hold while we work through that transition, especially the communications pieces. There's just some things that obviously with him, that he's working on, gonna be closing out any of the projects he already has. And then once he departs, there's gonna be a period before we fill that hole. So, between myself taking a good chunk of it, Joe will take what he can, but obviously we're pretty full already. So I would say that, yeah, it might be good just maybe put some of the rest of these on hold because there are things that, I don't think we have, bandwidth to do at this point.
I think we can discuss,
Yep.
our strategies and our priorities and things like that without you guys having to do things. So yeah, just keeping all these items, I think, because we've done parts of them, but not
Keeping them
fully.
on the radar, but.
Just keep them on, yeah, put this in every month until we
Yep.
finish them off, we're good. Okay. Staff reports? Unless anyone had something else on that. No? Okay.
I did have one quick thing. I checked in with Lynn Sharon Brock regarding Paul Bunyan Scenic Byway, and they are interested in, well, what they're proposing to different communities along the byway is that they would like to do like a promotional video of each city or community, and by including different families that live in that community, the cost to us would be about $1,000 to participate in that. And I need to clarify with her a little bit more where that would be accessed from people. I'm not sure if they're going to try to tie that into the actual signs that are around the byway, or if it's going to be an all online piece. So I have a few more questions to follow up with her.
What was the organization again?
It's Paul Bunyan Scenic Byway.
Okay.
So we have the sign back here and we have one close to Eagle View. They're all the way, around.
Yeah.
Over to Cross Lake and up to 50 Lakes and basically around the Whitefish chain. So just, that's the information I have so far. I can certainly, follow up with her further to kind of get some more clarification on it.
I think on their website too, like on that sheet that they had all the reds on like
Yeah.
things you could look up at a website, but when you go online, you can push the button and then you can see a visual.
Right, and I'm just wondering if maybe they're not trying to take the signs, so when you go visit the byway, that, you can push a button and maybe hear the stories.
Yeah.
But like I said, I will continue to follow with her, but that's what I have so far.
And they were talking about $1,000
Yeah,
Okay.
for a video.
for a video, and, yeah,
All right.
and he would come out and do some video footage of our city, and people, we would
Right, highlights of,
highlights, yeah, and he had done one for Jenkins and they were pretty happy with how it had turned out, so. That's
All right.
just a report at this point, but I'll have a call to Lynn too, and hopefully have more to report next time.
Great. Thank you.
I don't
Staff
have anything.
reports.
Joe, do you have anything?
We wrapped up a lot of the disc golf tasks we were to do, putting signage out on the course, renumbering the old course, creating a connecting path, the signage directing traffic from County Road 11 down Rainier. I did order below the signs, the directional arrow sign, I did order an additional sign that says Rainier Drive because there's some confusion with where the county placed one of those signs. I believe one of the signs by an intersection needs a straight ahead arrow because right now it just kind of, that's coming, both those are coming. We did, trying to think. That's the majority. There's a few tasks left. We got to move one basket. We installed the practice basket, kind of cleaned up the berm. It was getting weedy and that sort of thing. So the last few weeks we pulled out. We weren't mowing when it was dry out there. Final staking of the community garden is about to happen. I got the one lot that needed to be located, so we have enough setback from that private property line for a fence. I think we should probably be ready to rip the dirt off next week. We'll level the dirt that's there, and then we're gonna, start creating it a flat surface for the community garden so it gets a chance. We're gonna rent a compactor, but we also want a chance for it to settle before we work on it finish it up this fall. The raised gardens beds came in yesterday, and that ended up coming quite a bit under budget, and it's quite a bit more. So
Good.
we haven't torn them apart to put them together or anything yet. The wood chips are starting to pile up from the contractor that's willing to donate them. Yeah, that's going well, so once we get the basic site work done, then we will be breaking off to cemetery projects for a while, and then we'll circle back, and I hope to get it, we should be able to get it all done pending weather. The rain kind of ate up a lot of time this year. We're behind, but we're getting caught up, so.
Did
Any
you end
questions?
up getting to move the kiosk yet?
No,
Not
that'll
yet.
have to be a little bit later.
Okay, just wondering.
I think we put a bunch of concrete on the posts, and that's just, they're fairly deep. It's a little bit, we don't want to bang the concrete off, but we should get it done before winter. That's the goal. So,
I don't know if you guys still have the big map that was on the poster board for the garden meeting. But anyway, there is
it's in here.
in there, if you want to see what it looks like, and then the stakes are out there. I mean, it's pretty exciting. It's pretty
It is exciting, yeah.
I can't control myself. I'll do my part when it's a committee report, but do you have something? Well then, okay, then I'll run right into it if that's all right. If you guys wanna, did you see that? Okay, so these are all the raised beds, ovals, 8x4, and these are the 10x20s, and then 2 picnic tables that were donated, some extra room if we want to put in like rhubarb for everyone, and a couple apple trees maybe. And then we got a donation, I'm reporting a donation of $800 arbor, wooden arbor, by the Women's Club. They are donating it, and we're going to put a little plaque on there, and so that'll be like coming into the entrance, you know, not right up against the fence, but on the way to it, so that's exciting. We're having our meeting right before next month's, oh, wait a minute, 4 o'clock. We're having the introductory meeting. I guess they can do it without me, because we'll be over at the disco.
We're not there until 5.
5 o'clock is
Oh,
what
okay.
time we're meeting.
So 4 o'clock, we'll be over there. We'll be having one here, and then I'll run over there, and then run back up here. Yeah, so anybody, direct people if they want to learn more about the garden for next year. You can take one of the flyers that's over there too, and hang it up somewhere, please, you know, at a school, at your schools,
Go on.
wherever, and put them up. I put it at the
Are you
gym.
signing people up now?
No, we're not going to do it till January 1st, but we did get about 20 people at Night and Night to go over and walk over, and a bunch of people just signed up their interest, and they said it was very positive. And so things are going well. I think we're talking to CLC and having their marketing and graphic artists. Students can donate their time and do a trifold and a logo for us. Our logo's going to be Grow Together.
I love it.
Yeah, Breezy Point Community Garden, Grow Together. And so any things we do from the garden group will be through that. And then one of our garden members is going to donate the $400 or $500 to get those printed, about 1,000 copies. So that is wonderful. And let me see. The draft, if you go on the website, Daniel got on there, under Park and Rec, there's a garden, I want to say button, but it's, you know, it's a header. And then he's got this and this in there. Yep.
There it is.
Yep.
There it is, nice.
So these 2 things are in there now, and then the guidelines, he got them out to us today to look at, and we have to add no cannabis can be grown in there. We have to add that to our list. So a few revisions, that one we kind of, yeah. And then our application will be in there, and then we have to get our contact information and decide how that's all gonna flow, but Deb will pretty much be the one working with people to sign them up starting January 1st.
Do you get all the applications at once and then evaluate them, or is it first come, first
First
served?
come, first serve.
So city people don't have any preference?
Nope,
over
first come,
anybody
first
who comes
serve.
from St. Cloud?
You get to
or whatever?
Deb, you bribe her, you're in. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, everybody, actually it's $30 for residents and 40 for non-residents. So for each, whatever, which one. And we end up being able to do more of the raised beds, as Joe said, and got it all for less than what we had planned, like a lot less. Because we found a vendor and got wholesale and
Diane, if you were worried about that, we could charge non-residents like $100. That would mean more, residents would maybe be able to have a plot.
I know how the cemetery works, where if you're a Breezy Point person paying taxes, you get a better deal on your cemetery lot than if you're coming from Nisswa or anywhere else,
yeah, we were going to just
Is it
have it the same for
taxpayers
everybody,
support?
because in Cross Lake Garden, it's the same for everybody, but we thought we should make it higher for non-residents, so we went up to 40.
It is taxpayer supported.
Yeah, we went up to 40, so I think that's good for a start. And that's all I had for that, so. Anybody else with a committee member report? Then I will make a motion to adjourn. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
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 You second?
And opposed,
Thank you.
thank you.